But that's a long. That's about 100 years ago. Okay, and we did a lot of shows, so some of them are kind of a blur. We were located in Boston in the 70s, and our record company was in the New England area. But we recorded a lot of stuff in those days. We still do. Somehow that popped up, and somebody got a hold of it, Rounder Records, I believe, and they liked it, and they said, we'd like to put this out. And I said, well, we don't have anything out happening right now, and you want to keep the momentum going, keep your profile up. So I said, well, as long as it sounds good, you don't want to lose money. You want to put out a product that people like. So I'm not going to quarrel with them. So I guess it went well. So they said, well, just put out the whole smear. So I was thinking, well, why didn't you do that in the first place?
Why didn't we do this 20 years ago?
Well, not 20 years ago. When they put Live in Boston, that was just like 10 songs, and then they re-released the whole concert. I just said, why didn't you do that in the first place, the whole concert? But, hey, I don't know about these things. I'm not a record executive. I'm a barroom entertainer.
Well, that's what made me curious about it because, going back to 1982 for this, to me there has to be some reason. And not to say that it wasn't a good show or you didn't do good shows at other places, but I was just wondering, why was it this one in particular,
It's very hard to single certain things out from something that long ago.
Yeah, and like I said, it was just my curiosity. That was the first thing when I was like, oh, I'm going to be talking to Thorogood. I wonder why it's that concert. So
I ask myself that every day. I ask myself a lot of things every day.
You know what? I do too, especially when you have a 5-year-old, you kind of question things. It's like, I don't know what's going on here some days.
Say to your child when they seem confused or they seem frustrated, and you say, I'd like to tell them now that's going to change when you get older, but I don't want to lie to you.
You know what? It's kind of true. It really, really is. Like you kind of like he'll ask questions, and not to make this about the 5-year-old, but he really does. He'll ask questions. And you're like, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah, I do it the other way around. I ask questions to my daughter.
Oh, really?
Yes, I started her out that way. I give her a chance for her to ask me anything. I ask her stuff so I can learn something.
Okay, that's a great question then. What's one thing you've learned from your daughter?
So I'll tell you, I've learned some good guitar technique watching her play, some things she did on the guitar that I never did, and I tried them out when I played, and it worked out good for me. And no one taught her this. It was something she was doing naturally when she was doing her bar chords and playing, and she would stroke down on the low notes with her thumb and pull up on the high strings with her fingers. And the only other guitarist I ever saw do that was John Lee Hooker. And I saw Rio doing that, my daughter, and I said, hey, I'm going to try that. And lo and behold, it helped my hands out so much when I was playing live. I have small hands, small wrists. I tire easy, so my style is very aggressive. So I once I started doing that, I had a lot more energy. So I did learn that from her, from watching her play. If you keep your eyes and ears open, you might learn something.
Where did she learn it then? Did she just pick it up along the way, or was she taught that way?
Well, she had a guitar teacher. Yeah, she did.
Okay.
But most of the stuff, she learned the basics of what the guitar is about from a teacher, which you have to have. But other than that, most of the stuff, she plays Jumpin' Jack Flash the right way, the way Brian Jones played it in the video. And she never saw the video. I said, who taught you how to play it in that position? She said, no, this is just where I did it. So I looked up the live version of the Stones doing it, and lo and behold, that's how Brian Jones was playing it. So crazy, huh?
That's awesome. I grew up playing like saxophone and that sort of thing, and I've always tried to wrap my head around the guitar, and it's just there's just some kind of mental block there that I can't get past to be able to play very well.
Well, I had mental blocks with everything but the guitar. So I ended up... so... That's how I ended up with that instrument. The whole world was a mental block to me.
There you go. George
that was
Thorogood,
the one thing that made sense.
Yeah. You know what? What's funny about it, I think about the saxophone, and I'm like, I haven't played in years. I could probably go pick it up right now and be fine.
Well, leave your number at the desk. You never know. We got a sax player, but we need somebody to fill in. When B Stocks will be right there on the list. And we breeze through Iowa when it's 17 degrees below zero. Say, well, we might need another horn player. It's a little cold outside, so we'll keep you in mind.
Give that Bower Sox kid a try. George Thorogood joining me on the line right now, talking about Live in Boston, 1982, the complete concert. George, as you get kind of into the year and you got this coming up, what else you got going on right now?
Well, we're booked up throughout the rest of the year, and we'll have bookings outside the country in New Zealand and Australia for next year. So we just have to wait to get the green light from the other countries or the other venues. When the pandemic, hopefully sooner than better, it gets controlled or eliminated. But we're lined up to work, Bower Sox. So we just have to play the waiting game right now.
It had to kind of catch you off guard last year, right?
Not really.
Really?
No, it was. As soon as it hit, actually, it was my daughter told me about it first, and right away my brain lit up and said, this was about early March. She told me about this thing, and right then I said, there'll be no work for the rest of the year. I know that, even though we were booked for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
That was immediate. I could just tell by our voice this is something serious. This isn't somebody in the neighborhood has came down with the flu. This was heavy duty, and unfortunately there were other people, powers to be, who didn't take it that seriously. And, look where we are now.
Yeah.
When it hit me right away, and, how daughters are. They take care of their dads. She didn't want me to take any chances,
Yeah.
She was like making sure I did the right thing. She was one tipped me off.